That's right. You're. That's right. It's that time. Now I was gonna save this because it's such a fun time, but I saw Adam Green. He wrote a book. Yes, we are in the age where anyone can be an author. He wrote a book on, you know, I think it was something original like the Jesus deception. Thank you, Suzanne, for kicking off the goal. Um, and So he wrote a book. We'll take a look at the preview of the book here. For those of you who don't know Adam Green's sort of like a truther. He's made, I guess, a career out of calling out Christianity and Zionism and the bagel people.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
And, he tries to debate here and there or whatever, but so his whole thing is very like low-tier Reddit atheism arguments against Christianity. And he's anti-deception, but when you debate him on this, he doesn't give a reason why, right? Why is he anti-deception? What's, from his view, what's wrong with one tribe of people controlling all of the geopolitics of the world? What's wrong with a tribe, from his view, running the entire banking infrastructure? What's wrong with it? He's the Nickelback of truthers. Very well put, yes. That's a W right there. Right there, that's a funny one. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what's going on. Now, I was going to wait to do this because I enjoy it so much. But, I told you I'd do an annual Adam Green evolution documentary review, and so that's what we're going to do today. But first, we should probably look at his book preview. Thank you so much for that. We should probably look at his book preview just to know who we're dealing with here, right? All right, let's take a look-see. All right, here we go. Here we go, folks. Let's do this. Let's not mess around here. We have to take these people serious. All right, there's Adam Green with his new book. Oh, it's just such slop. Like, that's the book cover. That's rough. Right off the bat, it's a rough shape. Anyway, let's take a listen.
The Jesus Deception is now available at nomorenews.org and Amazon.
What an absolute failure. That's it? Just AI slop? You don't even give like an account of what the book is? Just type in AI and have it do the thing? Ugh. See some of the comments. Oh man, this is rough. Okay, the Jesus Deception revealed. So yeah, I just want you guys to get a sense of the mind of this person. So it's like the through line is anti-deception. This is like a controlled op. This is a psyop. Everything's a psyop kind of thing, right? And so he has a whole thing on it. He has a 10-minute opener on it. I don't even know if I should put you guys through it. Maybe let's watch a little. Let's just see how much we get through. How about that? Let's see what we got here. Let's see how much we get through this.
A priest, Yahweh's chosen people. And it comes from the Torah. The Yahweh agenda is ultimately to have a one world religion dictatorship, according to the prophecies, total hegemony, all of the world worshiping the one God of Israel. That's the
He's already off. Like, the irony here is that he's critiquing modern Judaism is the idea that, in this world, not a new world, in this world, everyone will be subjugated to the Jews, the modern Jews. The irony here is that that Christianity is in opposition to the false worldwide one world religion. That would be the Antichrist, that would be the inversion of Christ. That's Christianity. He's just like mangles them together.
The goal and the objective of his nation of priests. And they need to eradicate. God is Yahweh, is the God of Israel, the God of Zion. He's a jealous God, and he wants to destroy all of the, quote, pagan idol worship, all of the other competing religions around the world.
Wait, Adam Green, aren't you trying to destroy this false religion? That's weird. He's criticizing God for destroying all false religions, and his entire online career, it rests on this notion of destroying falsities. Isn't that a bit bizarre? Isn't that a bit ironic there?
And have dominion, subdue the nations with his Messiah. That's the role of the Messiah, is to conquer the nations for the God of Israel. Christianity and Islam fulfilled that. The rabbis brag about it, and they're following the prophecies as a script with their end times beliefs that are helping the nation of priests achieve their prophecies. Christianity is not a real person that fulfilled all of these prophecies. It is a story about a mythical Messiah that fulfilled all the prophecies. The prophecies are what inspired the Jesus narrative. Like Ezekiel, it says, the heathen shall know that I am the Lord. The Goyim shall know that I am Hashem. All the nations shall turn and fear the Lord God truly, and shall bury their idols. And then the Daniel 7 prophecy, the Son of Man that Jesus supposedly fulfilled, he was given authority, glory, and sovereignty.
Why is he affirming the deuterocanonical verses? That's weird. It's a bit strange. It's a bit of a strange one. It's a bit of a strange one. I've got two chats open. Which one's the real one? What's happening here? Hold on a second. Hold on, my chat overlay is freaking out. Just hold on a second. Which one is real? Oh, there we go. All right. Popping in to pay my Jortlandian tax. We'll be back later for Orthothugs. God bless. Yes, please go follow Orthothugs, y'all, out there. Thank you so much, Josiah. I appreciate you. All right. The reason I'm showing this, by the way, just so you know, is I just want you to... The preface here is he's anti-psyop, he's anti-lies, he's anti-control mechanisms, mental heuristic control mechanisms. That's his whole spiel, right? Now, the reason I'm setting this up is because, you know, the irony is that evolution, what better psyop on human beings? Better, if Christianity was a psyop, a better psyop would be a worldview that tells you you have no purpose, you're accidental, you're beasts, you're bacteria. There is no rhyme or reason for existence at all. What better psyop on human beings than that, Adam Green?
Power. All Goyim nations and peoples of every language worshipped him. Zechariah 14:9, another messianic chapter. The Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Lord, in his name only all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. The law will come forth from Zion, etc., etc. And then we have Paul. Paul was a Pharisee, and he thought he was chosen to be the prophet to the Gentiles, to bring the God of Israel to the Gentiles, to Judaize the Gentiles, and get them to abandon their idol worship and follow the Messiah, having faith in the Messiah. There's no question, Paul never even claimed to know Jesus. Most of the oldest books in the Old Testament come from Paul, and he never met the man. He saw him explicitly, he says, in the scriptures and in Revelations. Like in Romans 16, the preaching of Jesus Christ according to revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began, but now is made manifest by the scriptures of the prophets, made manifest by apostles like Paul, who had mystical experiences and saw him in the scriptures. And 2 Peter illustrates that the early Christians were not reading the divine sacred scriptures in the context they were written, but they were like a puzzle that they could pick and choose and make connections.
The irony of him stating this too, you guys, isn't it wild? The irony of him, he's right now doing a puzzle. He's literally doing online sleuth, I'm a private investigator work right now. He's piecing, this dude, man, he's like a parody of himself. That's, hey Adam, I don't know if you're watching this on X. That's literally what you're doing. You're piecing together, you're finding scriptures and piecing together a puzzle and figuring out the mystery, dude. I mean, what? It's funny, he keeps seeking truth, but how does he know what he's saying is the ultimate truth? He denies that there's ultimate truth.
Similar networks of passages to learn mysteries. They were searching for hidden mysteries in the scriptures to be revealed.
No, that doesn't work for him, Bjorn. It doesn't work for him. You know, the irony here, Bjorn, is that he criticizes, quote, Christians who are like Darby-tards, the evangelicals, the modern, quote, lowercase c Christians who are Zionists, who think the state of Israel, the 1948 nation state of Israel, is what is being referred to in early biblical text. And the irony here is that that's the criticism we have against Zionists, the perversion of what Israel is. And the irony is that he has to affirm that that's what Israel is. So it's like indirectly, Adam Green is a Zionist. Because, like, holding the oppositional view, anti-Zionism, affirming that Israel means, biblically, the state of Israel, that's affirming Zionism. That's affirming the identity, that the false identity that it is. That's the weird part about these people.
Through their exegesis. 2 Peter says, we did not follow cleverly devised stories when we told you about the coming of our Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
But they were eyewitness of his majesty. This is talking about the transfiguration. They wouldn't be saying that these are not cleverly devised myths.
That's what's so crazy. He's ironically being very Jewy. His whole take.
If the earliest Christians weren't saying that they're talking about myths. Paul says that he has visions and revelations from the Lord. This is how he learns about Jesus, not from any man. He says he was taken up or caught up into the third heaven as like a Kabbalistic mystical experience, Merkava mysticism. And that's where he went into paradise.
That's the thing, is like, if Adam Green really wanted to get to the core of the root of the Zionist narrative that's embedded inside of the West, their concept of Christianity, if he were to do the work separating Darby and the dispensationalist view from, I would say, I don't know, Adam, orthodoxy, he wouldn't be able to run his little grift here, being the online detective that he is. Suddenly he separates those two. He disambiguates them. It's over. Holy cow! Thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you so much, whoever that was. Big 50 over in the Vagine dowry. Really appreciate that.
It's the same Kabbalistic word they use for their mystical experiences. Paul says, the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. He did not learn it from any man. He received it by the revelation of Jesus Christ, that he would reveal the Son in him or through him to preach among the heathen or the Gentiles. Paul says that he was separated in his mother's womb and called by his grace. That is a citation of Jeremiah.
It's not low IQ if he doesn't have fancy words to describe the same thing. No. It's a word concept fallacy. That's the point, Randoverse. Adam Green is equivocating on the word Israel, and therefore he's not doing an internal critique of Christianity. He's doing an internal critique of Darbianism, dispensationalism. That's what he's critiquing. But if he were to separate the two, because that would be a psyop in a psyop, but he can't go that far because it'll ruin his entire grift. You know what I mean? Like if you do that, then you can't run this scheme on his Rumble channel. You have to get people who aren't thinking properly, who don't understand historically that not only Israel doesn't equal the nation state location from a Christian view, but even Judaism, Second Temple and before Judaism, is that doesn't exist. The Talmudic view, hundreds of years later, that's adopted, is not. So there's two things. Israel is equivocated, and so is Judaism, Jews. Two equivocations purposely run in parallel.
Jeremiah 1:5, formed in the womb to be a prophet to the nations. He thought he was a prophet to the nations. His basic gospel in the earliest Christian gospel was simply that a Messiah was rejected, died, buried, and resurrected after 3 days. And Paul says he received this from the scriptures,
no worries.
Buried and rose again the third day according to the scriptures. But Paul says, have I not seen Jesus Christ our Lord, indicating that he saw Jesus the same way all of the first Christians and original apostles and pillars.
Yeah. The original apostles, or is he going back further in the Old Testament and discussing theophanies, which I bet Adam Greenspan's brain couldn't conceive that Christianity holds to and has always held to theophany.
Saw Jesus in the scriptures. Paul even says the apostles who were held in high esteem, they added nothing to his message. How could the brother and best friend and disciples of the earthly Jesus add nothing to his message?
All right. I think that's it. You get the drift, right? You get his drift. You get his gist. You get his gif. All right. Now, okay, so you get the scheme, right? He's like, "Oh, I'm an anti-deceptor person. I'm Sherlock Holmes of the internet." Okay, that's his whole entire scheme, right? So now, holy cow! Thank you so much.
That is a big super chat.
Fantastic way to support whoever that was. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. The drift, the grift, the gif, the gist. We get the grift. Okay. Now he's going to, this is so crazy to me. This is why he's super sus to me. It's not just because his name, okay?
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
It's that he's calling out deception within the paradigm of geopolitics in regards to words like Israel and Christianity and things like this. And then he adopts the evolutionary view, which is insane because if the evolutionary view was, quote, true, I say, quote, true because truth isn't possible under the evolutionary view, if that was real. He simultaneously holds that view, even though deception, lying, manipulation, control, psyops would all be selected for. They'd just be a sort of a communication technology that evolved and was selected for the survival of in-group heuristics. What's the problem, dude? How are you going to argue evolution is true? Duh, it's a fact. And then be all upset that human beings adopt all sorts of new tools and techniques to preserve their own preferred race, religions, cultures. What's the problem, dude? Well, let's see. Let's see what he's got to say. This is going to be precious. This is going to be precious. This is my favorite. This is one of my favorite things that exists on the internet. If you haven't seen this before, you're in for a real treat. Yeah, I definitely am shadow banned. Wait, what the heck? What the heck, man? Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's see if I can why this. Been doing this. All right, let's see if I can get this going. This is so funny, dude.
What's going on, guys? Adam Green here with No More News. It is Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Got a huge show for you guys today. We're going to be discussing the Bible verse evolution. I think it's an important topic. A lot of people are very uninformed and ignorant on the topic. The people denying science and denying reality of how to explain the complexity of life on Earth. Mostly the Bible-believing Christians. We're going to get into, watch a couple clips, talk about the debate, watch a documentary that really thoroughly shows you the progression incrementally.
He just said a documentary that shows you the progression incrementally. He just said that. Now keep in mind, what this guy believes is a documentary. His words, not mine. He says documentary.
From the beginning of life to humans. I decided to do this because I posted a clip yesterday. I was watching Owen Benjamin, and he made a funny joke about evolution.
There's your first mistake.
And I posted it, as well as my AI evolution of man meme. And
Kent Hovind was talking about. What did he say?
A couple videos about evolution. And as usual, it's a very controversial topic on the internet amongst so many Bible believers that want to deny it and instead believe in creationism of the Genesis of the Hebrew Torah Bible story. So we're going to compare the beliefs of evolution or of creationism. We'll get to the video from Owen.
That's a bit weird, Adam. If evolution were true, the beliefs of Christianity would be a function of evolution. Beliefs would be ultimately selected for if they provided survival. You dope.
Later on. First, I want to say how evolution is a fact in all of science.
In all of science. Evolution is a fact in all of science.
Is based upon it. I want to start with a quick.
All of science is based on evolution, even though the scientific method, as formulated in its methodology, in its bullet points, preceded this concept.
Quick video from Richard Dawkins, and then get into this excellent documentary.
Oh, thank God! I mean, good. I was gonna say, how are you gonna run an argument for evolution without doing a clip of Richard Dawkins?
43 minutes. It just came out 7 months ago. Human Evolution: The Complete Story of Our Existence. It's really a very fascinating and educational video that
it's very educational.
Will help people wrap their head around what evolution actually is.
Yeah, let's talk about what it actually is.
I see so many misconceptions online that clearly show that people.
And by the way, I'm not debating during Lent, but I told Adam Green, he didn't answer me. He's like, "Oh, I'll keep losing evolution debates." Hey, Adam Green, would you like to debate me on a massive channel on whether evolution is a fact or not? I dare you.
People just don't get it at all. So let's fix up our background music. First, start with the fact that evolution is a fact.
Let's start with
I
the
have said that.
Let's come out the gates by just asserting it as a fact. Let's start there. That's typically how we do things around here. We declare and affirm and assert that things are a fact, and then we'll get into how we got there.
Evolution is a fact in the same sense as it's a fact that the Earth orbits the Sun. And somebody wrote in about that saying, it isn't...
No, the Christians want to deny that too. They want to deny all reality and deny science, all so they could rationalize and still salvage their Hebrew Torah mythologies.
No, I could actually do quite a good job, Adam Green, dismantling evolution and its assumptions without affirming anything about Christianity.
Theory, the Earth moves around the Sun. It's a fact we can observe. Evolution is not. Now, I see why he says that, because you sort of think, well, the Earth's moving around the Sun all the time, and therefore you can observe it, whereas you can't actually observe evolution because it happened a long time ago, or mostly it did. But really, you can't observe that the Earth moves around the Sun. What you observe is the changing seasons, and you infer that the Earth moves around the Sun because you have an interpretation, you have a theory to account for why you get changing seasons.
Oh, so a fact is a theory now. Interesting. That was a pretty quick conflation.
Same way, you observe that night follows day and day follows night. You don't actually observe that the Earth is spinning. You have a theory that the Earth is spinning and it accounts for the facts. And it's just the same way with evolution. It's true that we can't actually observe at least the major features of evolution happening. We can observe very, very recent, very tiny bits of evolution happening. It's true that we can't watch
especially with bacteria. You can see bacteria because they have shorter reproduction cycles, so you can actually see some of it. But there is little adaptations that we've been able to see, or with selective breeding with most of the common foods we eat today, or selective breeding with dogs or livestock.
Oh, what's a dog?
We can't watch.
I'm sorry, Adam. What's a dog? Sounds like Adam's affirming a static category that he simultaneously has to deny the objectivity of. I always ask these people, it's the same question every time. The moment they affirm that there are kinds of X, dog, kinds of brassica, broccoli family, there's a reason that's labeled as a type. Now, if it's not a type, if that's illusory, then you can't say there's a species of this type. So they always go to this. They always say that the variation of a type proves evolution, even though evolution would hold that the type itself is a thing that changed. Not the things underneath the type. Here's the type, here's the variation. This thing, the type, is its own variation of something else that it's not, and so forth. So whenever they give you graphs, this is the fun part about these Evo people, is that they give you graphs. They always start at the bottom, the beginning of the tree, but that place is arbitrary. The beginning of the tree, the broccoli plant family. Look, broccoli, look, mustard seed, whatever it is they're laying on you. Dogs. Then they splinter out from that category, but the thing is, the thing at the bottom, the main thing at the bottom, that needs to be the product of something it's not. That's what we're asking for. How do you determine the dog is a product of something it's not? And they go, look, there's more. So you deny that there's a multiplicity of kinds of dogs? No. Yes, that's a part whole. Yep, that's a composition fallacy.
Fish emerging from the sea and becoming land animals. We have to make inferences. We make inferences on the basis of the evidence available, in just the same way as we make inferences about the Earth's orbit by looking at the seasons and the Earth spinning by looking at the...
Totally not. No. These are totally different categories. Trying to come to the conclusion about what the system is doing in its regularity. What's not in question is that it maintains its regularity. That's the thing we're going off of. That the sun, whether you took a view that the sun is going around the earth or the earth is going around the sun, either way, you trying to establish what is occurring, that first order, right? This is happening. They're not changing identities. There's no identity change about that. Okay? Whereas evolution is positing something completely different as an event, which is that the very categories of the thing that you're assuming, the event of, the very categories, the thing themselves are changing. That's like saying, like, over time, the sun becomes the earth. That would be the difference. That would be the analogy, is that the things involved in the event over time move away from what they are. That would be an analogy. They're so slippery, and, small brain people like him, Adam Green, won't catch this. They'll be like, yeah, no, totally. Interesting that he would speak of mythology. If you would press him on what a criteria is for what constitutes a myth, he would have to say evolution is also a myth. Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, Jay did a great job doing that with Derek Mythvision, who's been coping for 2 years since.
A night cycle. I have likened this to a detective coming on the scene of a crime after the crime's been committed. You can't actually watch the crime being committed, but you can see footprints, you can see fingerprints, you can see all sorts of clues that remain in the room where the murder was committed, and you can put forward a hypothesis as to how the murder happened, and then check the hypothesis against the facts.
Yeah. And you know, dum-dum here, well, two dum-dums here. Another analogy that's disanalogous, of course, because the distinction with the murder is that you have access to the crime scene, and the things you're trying to hunt for to match up with the crime scene, you also have access to. The only reason we can do investigation of incidents, murder, theft, or the rest, do forensics, ballistics, the only reason we can do that is we have access to the observation. It's just mind-blowing the level of spiritual delusion that exists and how far it twists the ability to think properly. It's vindicating, but it's also horrifying at the same time. Science can't even epistemically establish, yeah, it's not fact-based, of course. And they're like, it's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. So you see, you got to catch them on this stuff when you're talking to these people. They use analogies where the observation of the event is accessible, and then whatever you posit is the case about the event is something you can establish. You don't have access to the first observation in evolution, but he gets away with it because, let's just face it, academia is science itself as a strict methodology has been lost.
And to greater or less
Which they found archaeology confirming evolution. They found genetic sequencing confirming evolution. Every aspect of biology is like centered around evolution.
Oh, really? And so could you defend that in a debate? I bet you can't.
Extent, the detective can come to a firm conclusion about who the murderer was. And it's just the same way with evolution, except that the number of clues that we have after the crime, so to speak, are enormously richer than those that any detective normally is privileged to see.
Okay, now for the movie. This is such a...
Let's go for the movie, yeah.
Good movie. It really shows...
This is such a good movie. Listen to this. This is the funniest part.
That the number of clues that we have after the crime, so to speak, are enormously richer than those that any detective normally is privileged.
That's great. So what's the crime in this analogy, Dickie? What's the crime in this analogy, you baby-eating goblin?
Privileged to see.
Okay, now for the movie. This is such a good movie. It really shows from the very beginning of life, which is known as not evolution, but biogenesis.
It shows, the movie shows, guys, from the very beginning of life. It really shows it. You guys, watch how the movie really shows it.
Most likely.
That's right. A crime can be reproduced. Yep. That's what forensics and ballistics is. They literally do the pew-pew shots, and they replicate blood splatter with real dummies. They literally use axes in rooms. They make white rooms, and they smash fake heads. Yeah, no problem, modern atheism.
The first cell started as a very even simpler, even simpler RNA type of cell.
Sure.
The cell evolved, didn't start just with the complex cells that we see today, but much more simple.
So based on his reasoning, if we watch the Passion of the Christ, that's evidence. That's a documentary. That's a movie affirming the the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Simplistic RNA type of cells. So this goes through every little step, and it shows you every little building block,
signal cell from
along the way. And I want the chat. I already see the creationists in the chat coping and denying and saying this is debunked. I'd like to see you give a specific refutation of some of the claims in here, where you think this is wrong. Okay. And in the comments.
Yeah. We are the most complex creature on this planet.
That's already can't. How are you going to determine that?
A quick off topic. What are your thoughts on the channel Let's Talk Creation with Dr. Todd Wood and Paul Garner, creationists?
Interesting. I'll look them up. Thank you, Vagine. I don't know how Vagine knows of all of these sources.
A big-brained, two-legged mammal. We've risen from the raw materials of the earth to dominate and shape it.
Which I think is cool. I think it's amazing. Evolution's amazing. The fact that we evolved the brain.
Hey Jim Bob. Vagine here and I'm ticked off. Even I don't believe in avatardism and I believe in Islam. Disgusting people. Where I am from, Adam Green wouldn't even be allowed to poo in our streets.
I know.
And he would be thrown from a rooftop. For obvious reasons. Pride flag emoji. Hamdulillah.
Hamdulillah. Shot to the Bikioku, Vagine. So listen to his argumentation here. We evolve the brain. He just declares that so.
Earth to dominate and shape it.
Which I think is cool. I think it's amazing. Evolution's amazing. The fact that we evolved the brain intelligent enough to discover how we evolved and contemplate our afterlife and consciousness and these major questions like how do we get here, I think is absolutely incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible that you think that happened, but you can't tell us how that happened from an evolutionary view. I think that's incredible. I think it's incredible, Adam, that the person in your documentary here literally just said we came up from the materials of the earth and evolved to figure out how to dominate it. Isn't your entire career about opposing world domination? It's totally consistent with the evolutionary view.
Evolution is so much more awe-inspiring and amazing and reasonable than the Genesis. God just said, "Let there be light," and poof, Adam would just materialize into existence.
It's literally the same thing. You just have a naturalistic view of it. You literally hold that there was dead matter that poof one day became alive. That's literally the same thing. It's just accidental. There's no intent. There's no mind. There's no purpose. And you don't have metaphysics, by the way. Where did those pop up, bro?
This actually explains it. At least, at the very least, it's trying to explain it. Just saying God did it is like just creating a more complex problem because then you have to explain where God came from.
Oof, low tier. Hit the dang goal. Thank you so much, Suzanne.
Just saying God did it. He just poofed and just Adam came from the mud and Eve came from the rib. Like it's so laughable and pathetic that we even have to still be trying to prove to Christians that are just in total denial because they want to believe in the Bible.
Oh, dude, Adam, I dare you to defend evolution against me in a debate publicly.
They want their Jewish religion to be true. Okay, no more interruptions.
Wind the clock backwards, and the story of how we got to be us is a puzzle that defies all logic.
He just said it. Listen to the movie. This is my favorite part. Adam Green just said it's more reasonable, but now listen to what the movie, he's affirming this movie. This is a great movie, you guys. This is a great, did you just catch the narrator? Listen again.
In the Bible. They want their Jewish religion to be true. Okay, no more interruptions.
Wind the clock backwards, and the story of how we got to be us is a puzzle that defies all logic.
Hey, what happened, Adam? What happened? Everyone heard it. What happened? Everyone heard it. You didn't hear that, Adam? My chat heard it. I don't know why I don't know. Look at him down there. Pretending he didn't hear that. Look at him. Oh, well, I'm just going to ignore that. Why does every documentary say that evolution defies logic? Yeah, it defies logic, violates the law of identity, defies mathematical probability. But no, that's why it's so amazing, you guys.
Nearly 4 billion years of evolutionary twists and turns. Disasters strike. Predators threaten to wipe us out. From rodent to reptile. We face extinction at every turn. From the land into the water. Fighting to survive every step of the way.
Look at it. Look at the documentary. What an epic documentary.
From fish to worm. Back back to the very first spark of life, to a single, simple cell.
Thank you for that.
This is the most extraordinary, improbable story ever told.
Improbable. Are believing in improbable things, Adam Green, reasonable? It's the most improbable story ever told. Adam Green, look at him stunned. Look at him stunned down there. Oh, damn. Whoops. I guess I should have previewed this before I put it on a live stream. How is he keeping a straight face, indeed? How? Defies logic, the most improbable story ever told. He's just silent.
The story of mankind rising.
The most extraordinary story ever told. It really is so much more.
No, he said improbable, and it defies logic.
More amazing than the Hebrew creation story. So much more amazing and to wrap your head around it. Pete Rules 247 for 10 says, "Good afternoon, Adam. I love seeing the anti-evolution propaganda billboards put up by the Christians. Really makes them look nutty. Hopefully it pushes people away rather than draws them closer." Well, that reminds me. I asked ChatGPT before we started.
Oh, good. I'm glad you asked ChatGPT. I mean, what would we do?
What percentage of the world believes in evolution? And they say developed, more intelligent countries, it's around 60 to 80%, depending on the educational system and the prevalence of religious belief.
Yeah. Swap evolution with whether or not a male could give birth. This guy is so dumb. Adam Green, you are so dumb. Use the same reasoning. You think, right? You think that because public education teaches it at mass scale, that means it's true? Yeah, they eat it up. It's hypnosis, totally.
If his problem with Christianity is that it doesn't affirm evolution, he has to explain away the Christians that do believe in evolution.
That's right.
God creating man from the dust of the earth could be seen as the first proteins being formed from the primordial slime. Either way, he's screwed.
That's right. Well, he's screwed in a much deeper way as well, which is whatever beliefs we come to must necessarily be part of, at least downstream, from the evolutionary process anyway.
Beliefs, 60 to 80% believe in evolution, whereas in America, they estimate about 54% of Americans now accept evolution.
Cool. What percent of people, I don't know, in the West accept this view of Zionism? So it must be true. It must be adequate. It must be good, right? Must be true.
Amalek Defamation League says, "I won't lie, I'm a pagan evolution denier for some parts like abiogenesis mainly, but I trust you and I'm coming into this with an open mind. Goishiak has yet to let me down." Well, just watch this documentary and just tell me it's not amazing and it doesn't make
documentary, bro.
Total perfect sense.
Where are the interviews from the dinosaurs?
And it's so much more amazing than God did it. Like, it's just a non-answer. We got an answer. God did it. Oh, great. That really clears things up for us. He just snapped his fingers and like a movie, man just materialized 6,000 years ago. Please.
So it is actually more reasonable. It's way more reasonable to look at the variety of categorized creatures and say they themselves maintain identity over time. That's more reasonable.
After listening to a 50-hour diatribe, cool story,
cool story, bro. Cool story, bro.
4,000 million years ago.
A ball of rock.
4,000. This is my favorite part ever. You guys remember this? Look at this. Look at the intro to the documentary, the establishing shot. According to Adam Green and his tiny brain, this is the true establishing shot in the documentary. 4,000 years ago. 4,000 million years ago.
His fingers and like a movie, man just materialized 6,000 years ago. Please. 4,000 million years ago.
You don't get the irony there? Oh, please, some 6,000, 10,000 years ago, God created, spoke existence into reality. Please, Anyway, let's get back to the documentary. 4,000 million years ago.
A ball of rock and dust spins in the frozen vacuum of space.
Someone give that cameraman an award.
This isn't Mars.
Yeah, they
do. Or Venus.
Lizard trees. You're so bad at numbers? Yeah. Tell us about numbers. Are you going to really say that evolution doesn't have a problem with numbers?
This hell is Earth. This seething, lifeless mass of molten lava will become home to nearly 9 million living species.
There it is. Look at that. Zap, snap, fire.
But generating life from this...
What is this, a Yu-Gi-Oh episode?
...will take a chain of events that defies the laws of probability.
He just admitted that it defies the laws of probability. And this dummy is arguing what's more probable. It defies probability. It defies reason. This is not for the goal. Thank you.
There are many theories. Nobody knows exactly how or where life began.
I thought all these things were factual.
But it couldn't happen without water.
How did you get water? Oh, let's tell another story. You got water from a, cosmological Uber Eats delivery system of comets. Unbelievable. Any tips on how to discuss dinosaurs to kid? We're planning a homeschool, but I'm sure we'll bring it up. Just call them large animals. You can't truther them early. You gotta teach them to think. You gotta teach them how to think, and just giving them answers in a lot of cases isn't going to do the thing you want it to anyway. You could say that too. You could go this direction. You could. I kind of look at it like this, like teaching is you get progressively more conceptual with their brains. Because if you listen to your children, they often come to the skeptical position for you anyway, for a lot of things. Where you just go, does that make sense to you? And they're like, no. No. Can't wait for them to bring... They might not get into it in this documentary, okay? So don't be upset they don't tell you how, I don't know, random comets delivered all of the ocean water.
Experts believe...
I just saw something about that They found a ton of water on Mars. Did you see that in the news yesterday?
Oh, yeah, we saw that in the news. We saw that in the news, Adam Green. Good thing we saw it in the news. Your channel's name is No More News. Your entire identity is based on the news cycles lying to you. Hey, guys, did you see in the news they found water on Mars in the news? Did you guys see it? Did you guys see what the mainstream media told you in the news? He's talking about ridiculousness. Meanwhile, he believes his grandfather was a fish while staring at a screen in awe. He's just in awe. I mean, this is like summer camp. This is like when they wheel out. You think you're in study hall, but the teacher ends up being cool and he wheels out the VCR and you get to watch a cartoon or something. He's like, I was not expecting this. Dinosaurs are dragons. They just swap them, try to falsify the Bible. You could say that too.
Beneath the surface, they said there's water everywhere. I'll see if I can find a headline.
Oh, good. Find the headline. Oh, yeah. By all accounts, Adam Green, we want to keep things really certain here with our epistemology when we're reporting to our viewers. I'll find the headline real quick. Don't worry.
They find that there has been life on Mars before. Will Christians agree that evolution is true, or will they say God did that too?
No, those wouldn't even be connected, dum-dum. If they find life on Mars, therefore the process of evolution is true. Dude, your brain is so small, I don't even recommend a lobotomy. It's not even necessary.
Comets delivered it here.
That's amazing to think that water was brought here by comets.
Yeah, that's what you guys, that's what the same priesthood class that you're appealing to believe.
The water is churning with chemicals and organic compounds.
More camera work. Amazing camera work.
Lightning strikes the chemical soup at the right place and the right time.
Yeah, totally.
Billions of volts of electricity trigger a chain of improbable coincidence.
Totally.
Part of the fun for them is telling you it is impossible, then convincing you to believe it against all reason and logic.
Yeah, just like the Karunka thing. The entire thing was based on the same manipulation that this guy's doing to his audience. Duh, it's true. Duh, what are you, stupid? What are you, whack job? What are you up to? Unbelievable. You're literally denying science. Get the jibby jabs.
The chemicals atoms join up in a precise sequence.
And the reason I think that they say electricity had something to do with it was because you know how like you could rub a balloon on your head and your hair sticks up. It creates different elements to like be charged and like align with the electricity. That's why they think that had something to do with it.
Wow, that's really top level. Did you guys hear that? I feel like Adam Green could at least be a substitute teacher. Let's hear that one again. The reason they think electricity had to do with the beginning of life from dead matter is when you rub a balloon on your head. You should be locked up, Adam Green.
They say electricity had something to do with it was because you know how like you could rub a balloon on your head and your hair
trigger a chain of
That's it. We're changing the speed on this. That's it.
improbable coincidences. The chemicals atoms join up in a precise sequence.
And the reason I think that they say electricity had something to do with it was because you know how like you could rub a balloon on your head and your hair sticks up. It creates different elements to like be charged and like align with the electricity. That's why they think that had something to do with it.
Yeah, it's okay. Try to eat your pudding. Try to get the most of the pudding in your mouth. Okay, it's gonna be okay. I think your family's visiting later. That's a good thing. There you go. We're just gonna wheel you out here. Maybe look at the backyard. How about that, Adam? Would you like to look at the backyard and maybe see the birds? Would you like to see the birds? That's okay. No, you're okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. No, you're okay.
They say electricity had something to do with it was because you know how like you could rub a balloon on your head and your hair sticks up.
Finally reading Father Seraphim's Nihilism, the Root of the Revolution of the Modern Age. He covers so much of what you're dealing with talking to evolutionists.
Yes. It's a great book. It's really short, too. My grandpa was a fish, indeed. They taught me this in school. I remember asking, how do you know water came from a comet? My teacher said it's an educated guess. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Creates different elements to like be charged and like align with.
So wait, when you rub a balloon on your head, it creates different elements. It creates new elements to then be charged, and it aligns the electricity.
Electricity. That's why they think that had something to do with it.
Wow, Adam. Wow. I can't believe you kept this up on the internet, bro. I cannot even believe it, dude.
A bundle of genetic material. These fragile genes don't stand a chance in this extreme environment.
So, and think about the odds, okay? This was happening trillions and trillions of times on the small scale, and all it takes is one of those to be the lucky lottery number that has the perfect right alignment, and then whatever happens, it starts multiplying.
Whatever happened, yeah. Wow, I'm so glad you expressed what was happening. Whatever amount of trillions of possibilities there are, you just get that one lottery ticket and it aligns, and then it does whatever the thing that it does. Maybe the particles rub a balloon on their head. Whatever happens there just happens, and then just think about it. It's like this. It's like the more crazy the odds, the more likely it'll happen, probably, right? Like lotto time. Like if there's a lot of time, then the odds change. If you change the time, then the odds increase. It's super scientific, this guy. I mean, this is like precision scientific acumen in motion. I mean, a sight to see.
But it only has to happen once out of like billions of years, so many different places on Earth where this could possibly happen, and all it has to do is happen just one time. And it sounds improbable. It's
what has to happen one time? What? It only has to happen one time. I simply go, what? What happens one time? Explain what happened. The thing that I don't know, the balloon rubbing on the head and the particles align, and then something happens just once. I mean, you're an absolute lunatic, dude.
One in trillions and trillions and trillions, but if there's trillions and trillions of rolling of the dice, you're eventually going to get one.
What dice? Dude, you don't even have an adequate thing to analogize with dice, because dice, you know what outcome you're looking at. You know what the event is. A 6, a 1, a 2, a 3. You don't even know what the dice are, bro. They're all question marks. It's like rolling a question mark dice. He's like, well, I don't know what the thing is that needs to happen, but it probably happened. And with enough dice, you could roll. When enough times you roll it, it'll probably happen. What? Question mark. Question mark will happen.
That's the idea.
But
that's the idea. That's the idea.
Strikes again.
Super scientific, by the way.
A blob of oily material engulfs a single chain to create the first ever cell. Now, the genes send out messages.
300,000 years ago was when the first humans walked the earth. Oh, really? What was how did you determine that was a human when they were living, according to your view, among something else that looked just like them? What determines which one was a human there, atheist? Here, I'll skip all of the nonsense. You don't know.
Chemical instructions. And 3.5 billion years ago, they do something extraordinary. They copy themselves and the cell to create a perfect clone. This is the very first living thing. Every human, every animal, every bug, every plant can trace its origins to this single cell.
Really? How do you do that? How'd you do that? Don't mind the salty water, yeah. Just an assertion. Every single thing, every tree, every broccoli, every piece of bacon can trace its way back to this single cell that we just invented with some shitty Korean CGI. Also, that's not true. It has to happen multiple times. Oh, yeah, dude. I was going to say, he's like, it only has to happen one. No, it has to happen so many times. And guess what? Every sequential step has to happen that many times too. So you have to get it right. It's like doing a combination lock, right? If a combination lock, in this case, by the way, has, I don't know, 40, it's like doing a padlock that has 40 possible sequential numbers, right? Not even that. For each number on the padlock, you can go up to 100, but there's 100 numbers you have to get in a row. You can get the first two numbers right. He's saying you can get the first two numbers, but the thing is, like, you not only have to get all 100 numbers right accidentally, But then, like Gravios is saying, you have to keep doing that. Yeah, nature doesn't tell you it's going to stick. Yeah, yes. There's no reason to maintain the outcome. He's like, no, you just get the outcome and then it maintains.
The genes tell each cell to reproduce.
I think JFG, John F. Guerreri, has a book that's about like RNA and the first abiogenesis and replication of the cell,
guaranteeing their survival as they pass from one generation.
Dude, and that. Thank you. And that. The combination itself changes. It's just wild. Like his analogy with winning the lottery isn't even a good analogy for this reason. Because the lottery would be fixed, wouldn't be in flux. But if evolution was true, the lottery number itself, the thing winning, would also change. What it is to win the lottery would change. It wouldn't stay the same.
To the next. For 2 billion years, the only living things are simple single cells. But a random accident changes everything. 2 cells merge. Their genes combine.
What's a gene? What are you talking about? You get genes? I'm sorry. How did you get genes from this? Was this the rubbing your head on the balloon theory? How did you get genetic code that instructs behavior from this? Oh, and then it split the genes. And it's totally random that it did the thing that needs to happen.
The merged cell clones itself. Its offspring contain.
Imagine the capability of cloning. Think about what's required today to try to manufacture the process of cloning. The smartest creatures on Earth are challenged in adequately, effectively reproducing this thing called cloning. And according to this guy, it happened randomly. That the thing you're trying to mimic in engineering happened randomly. No purpose, no reason. Cloning, the mechanism. Cloning. Think about that. Cloning. Oh yeah, no, cloning. Yeah, it's just the electricity. It was a big staticky balloon that time. Big staticky balloon.
That is a big super chat.
Thank you so much. That's a very generous tip from Gravios. I put it this way: as time expands, the probability of everything halting evolution expands as well. Absolutely. The probability of everything going the way they think it did is statistically more improbable than all good God creating everything. Yeah. Well, that's what's crazy, Gravios, is that probability itself to be a possibility requires, this is why tag argument is so important. Probability itself has a set of preconditions. And so you go there, right? But even granting them probability in this case, you're right. Every single step. Not only that, think of it this way. Once they have their first, once they grant themselves the first variety or single population that does its thing, when they argue that the way it evolves with the 4 components of evolution, the 4 mechanisms, that as it evolves, the environment is indicative on what happens as far as how it evolves. And yet, introducing the environment adds what? Like Gravios is saying, more unprobable variables. Variables that are increased, right, put in the event, that would lower the probability, make it harder over time to do what needs to be done under this view. And by the way, what needs to be done under this view is the thing that I press all of these evolution people on, and they can't actually tell me what's happening. What's actually happening? Well, it's possible. With enough time, it'll happen. What? What will happen? Evolution, duh. No. What is evolution? What are you saying is happening? A transition, right? Let's take one example. The Pakicetus. This little like land animal that's a wolf size. In 15 million years, according to their view, according to Adam Green's view, in 15 million years, a Pakicetus goes through some sort of successive divergent chain of events that then produces a whale. And we go, wait, that's a weird claim. How does that happen? Can you explain how that possibly happens? No. You evolution denier.
Change genes from not one, but 2 cells, 2 parents. We call this accident sex. Sex introduces variation.
Sex, the process of sex, accidental. Dude, it's just like, talk about magic. They try to make us embarrassed. They gaslight the Christians in saying it's embarrassing to say there's an all-knowing creator to all of the organized form that we see today and its functions. They go, that's magic. It's magic. This is definitionally magic. An accidental production of cloning. A very specific, detailed, complex system that produces an effect. Accidentally. That's magic.
Occasionally, things go wrong. As the cells
Wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. That's the thing. I'm sorry. There's no wrong.
produce, genes get deleted, duplicated. These cells are mutants. Mutations pile up. Differences increase. Until the cells become so different, they're separate species. The tree of life branches out into billions of species.
Unbelievable. Just amazing that this guy is eating this up. Look at him. As long as you put animated balls in my face, according to Adam Green, just put animated balls in my face and give a little time ticker, and I'll skip all of the explanatory mechanisms that need to happen for us to get a diverse, complex, synergistic world of different varying organisms in populations, bro. Listen, this is their science right here. This is crazy. Listen to this.
Parents. We call this accident sex. Sex introduces variation.
Actually, sex introduces variation, but the variation is of something that's not varied. I'm glad I caught this. Sex introduces variation, but to say variation is to say it's a variety of what? The thing that it is. Variation itself of the thing that it is doesn't give you, just like if you get a variety of dogs, canine animals, just because there's variation of a canine, it doesn't follow that successively it'll produce something that's not a dog. You bunch of whack jobs. Can grant God and the world as we know it is essentially guaranteed. Grant every atheist assumption and you get more atheist assumptions. Yeah, it's endless, dude. There's endless magical thinking that you need to do from an atheist view.
Occasionally, things go wrong. As the cells reproduce, genes get deleted, duplicated. These cells are mutants. Mutations pile up. Differences increase. Until the cells become so different, they're separate species.
What? The cells differ so much they become a different species. A cell. Like, I don't know. Animals are made of cells. So what is it? How many species are there? There's a species of a cell, and then the species of a cell creates a species of an animal? I mean, these people are lunatics. 2 cells after a night at the bar went to their apartment and got together accidentally. Then they regretted it the next day. Intense music. Dude, thank you. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for funding the anti-evolution campaign.
The tree of life branches out into billions of species, but only one will lead to us.
I'm a rusty...
Only one leads to us. Cool. It's interesting the documentary has yet to bring up natural selection. I guess it's just not happening yet. Yeah, what is it? You know, what's the environment? They don't want to talk about this part, right, Chris? Because if you introduce the environment, the arguments that a lot of these people bring, including like James Tour, these early conceptions of proto-life, the environment is not nice to these things. Not nice at all. But they're like, yeah, no, it just did it. It survived. Don't worry about the environment that's trying to kill it. Without predators even. Just changes. Just heat. Just oxygen. Anything. Salt. Whatever it is. Like, it's not advantageous. Have you seen the meme of the nerdy guy ecstatically watching the Star Wars trailer? Yeah, that's how he's doing it. He has a lunchbox, dude. He's sitting on 3 lunchboxes right now. This is analogous to using the old animated Mormon cartoon to support Mormonism. What are we doing? It's wild.
Uh-oh.
And I am barely hanging on.
We got commercials. Sorry, guys.
Mutating and diversifying, spreading out through the oceans, getting bigger, more complex, until our ancestor is a 3-inch long water worm.
Until our ancestor is a water worm. We don't tell you how that occurs. We just say 55 million years ago, because this is science, right, Adam Green? This is just science. 55 million years ago, things happen that we can't explain, but as long as we could send it out to Korea to do animation, you're a water worm. Here we go.
This is us 550 million years ago.
Look at Adam. Look at Adam. Oh, no, there's no psyop on your mind right now. Let's focus on Zionism and Christianity. This is just... Don't worry about this.
Mutations create distinct male and female sexes. We produce more offspring, passing on more genes. Mars and Venus. Boy meets girl. It all starts here.
Storytelling, not scientific. It all starts here.
But finding a partner is almost impossible.
You got to make a partner first. You know, see what I'm saying? They just grant themselves a partner. Okay, a worm grew, and then there was male and female. How? We don't know. Because things change. Just affirming the thing that they're talking about. Oh, you got male and female. Now you have to find a partner. Amazing. What an amazing jump in the chapter, in the fantasy.
When every living thing is blind.
Yeah, they just create male and female. Just like that. We're going to skip to that. Let's just skip ahead.
In this sea of darkness, the ability to see will give us a critical advantage.
Oh.
Nature's most perfect innovation begins...
Okay, yeah, look at this. Accidental eyeballs. Ready? Look. I know how to do that. In Adobe Premiere, you have a layer. That layer, that's that new texture, you put that over the other layer, and then you lower the opacity, and then you increase the opacity, or vice versa, and then the new layer shows up.
To take shape. A handful of skins.
Here's they're explaining the development of the eye, how long
they're not
ago it evolved.
No. They're not explaining it, Adam. You retard. Just so you guys know, they're explaining the development of the eyeball.
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
Just so you guys know, they're explaining it right here with this cartoon by just saying an unknown process that could be depicted by animation is producing the first eyeball.
And people see our modern complex eye and they go, oh, that could have never just evolved from nothing, no eyes to eyes. But this is how long ago in the tree of life that it actually started, with a very, very, very simple, light-sensitive area.
Cells.
Yeah, literally, he's so stupid that he just said it just evolved out of nowhere. We're like, how do you get an eyeball out of nowhere? He's like, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is a long time ago it evolved out of nowhere.
Mutate
of the cells.
Now, we can tell dark from light, find more prey, dodge more predators. We live longer and produce more offspring. Soon, creatures with light-sensitive cells dominate the population. Over countless generations, more mutations refine the cells.
By the way, multiple creatures that are unrelated develop these eyeball cell light-sensitive capabilities accidentally.
This is natural selection in action, the process that allows every living thing to adapt to the world, and that gives our ancestor eyes.
Voila, that's all it takes for Adam Green. Good thing he's pointing out deceptions and how easily people are manipulated with propaganda. Good thing Adam Green ironically covers that in his daily live streams.
So
yeah, that's the other thing. Where are the predators? Oh, they just also existed at the same time. Even the relationship between a predator and a prey has to develop from the evolutionary paradigm, and yet they just skip to there's predators out there, right?
So, creationist apologists and Christian apologists will make videos saying, oh, the eye disproves evolution. You can never have a complex eye with all of its different mechanics evolve from nothing. But in the animal kingdom still today, we can basically see every stage of the development of the eye.
No, that's question begging. You don't know it's a stage? You dork. Oh, by the way, we just look now and we can see every stage of the eye. No, you're seeing instances of similar function. You don't see a stage. You don't observe a stage.
And it started with a very simplistic photo light sensitive area.
How? How?
We can see, and everything we can see is descended from that first single cell.
Case closed.
But we need to make sense of what we're seeing. Behind our eyes, a tiny collection of nerve cells clustered together.
This is funny.
They're no bigger than...
To the idiots in the chat saying this is
so funny, dude. Yeah, the environment is the egregore predator. Yeah, totally.
Jewish propaganda. Adam and Eve is Jewish propaganda. How delusional are you? How is this wrong specifically? Scooby's right. He says if the human body is a result of intelligent creation, that would be incredible concerning since the human body is so flawed.
What? That's not a contradiction.
Exactly.
No, exactly no. That's not a contradiction.
Pinhead. One day, this will be nature's most complex and mysterious organ.
The brain.
Look at him. Look at him. They just grant themselves, there's a random cluster of cells behind the eye. So there's no meaning, there's no use of the eye. It's just input response, right? There's no meaningful reaction when you send light in, right? Or the reaction is totally sufficient. So you gain this capability accidentally for light-sensitive skin, right? That has no function or purpose, but it accidentally does a function or purpose. And it's adequate for survival and domination, right? But accidentally, a brain grows accidentally right behind the eye, accidentally, and accidentally develops a relationship between the photosensitive, light-sensitive cells and itself. So the in-between, right? It's like saying two cities that accidentally operate in a meaningful way for the organism develop two different places, but you accidentally develop a highway. So the highway itself between this lump that he's believing, just because it's animated, is the beginning of the brain. No, there's no explanation. It's a magical cluster that's not differentiated in any meaningful way between other clusters. What's this cluster's capability, buddy? If you said the first cluster, its capability is light sensitivity, what's this one?
521 million years ago. This is the very first...
521? Excuse me? 521? These people are just trolling, dude.
First brain. We are a fish-like creature called mitochondria. Our brain can make simple decisions, process basic information.
Yeah, just accidentally processing information. These people are lunatics, man. A processor? An accidental processor of information.
But we can't outlive or outrun this.
What's that? What's that? What is that? Where'd that come from? But we can't outrun or swim this other thing that was accidentally created. It was at 6:05 a.m. Based on a theory of, quote, light hit a sensitive spot, so an eye was made there. There should be eyes in random places all over creatures' bodies. Yeah, well, what they would say, Mudwork, is there are creatures today that have a light-sensitive part of their body. But the thing is, you're right. Why, like they could say that because my skin burns in the sun, it's light-sensitive. Is it an eye? Like, if anything has an effect on it from the sun or from light, is it an eye? Well, yeah, it's a type of eye. It's a skin eye. So what is that anyway? What is that thing up there?
Anoma Lacaris, the great white of the ancient oceans.
Look at it.
Our odds of extinction are far higher than survival.
Wow. How did that develop, buddy? How did you just get... Look, you see how they skip around? They're like, look, this is the first you. It's the rudimentary you. It's a worm that develops eyeballs and a brain. But by the way, there's already this other thing that's not you. That's like an elephant crab. It's like a Star Wars creature that already developed that we don't have to explain that one. Once you believe that you were a worm, don't worry, guys. Once you have the brain of Adam Green, where you just believe that you were a worm and a fish, it's not going to be a big jump for him to accept this new character we invent in Chapter 2.
Of all the species that have ever lived,
the first boss.
It's funny too. If God was real and God created all the different complexity, thousands of different species, variations, subspecies of each species.
Yeah.
Evolution explains that. Evolution can explain everything we see in the animal kingdom.
That's not an argument. That's a total non sequitur. If God could explain all the species, evolution can explain. Do you even know how to form sentences? With circa 6,000 years old of recorded history and no macroevolution, how many can wait on evolution? Tell me, Renaissance man. Nice. They evolved from another time long ago. Yeah, they have to have another origin story. Separate origin story, by the way. All creatures evolved from this single cell except for this elephant crab. Somewhere, they're in a different neighborhood. Don't worry about it.
But look at all of the species that have existed throughout histories that we'll find fossils of that don't exist anymore. So he created all these things and they just died out. No, it's...
What's the contradiction, even if that were true? Where's your argument, dude?
Aligns with evolution, not with an intelligent designer, creator god.
9% of them are extinct.
He doesn't know how to form an argument.
Hear that? 99, what do you say? 99% of them are extinct? Of all the animals that ever existed on Earth?
That's a fun claim. And we know that. We know that because we can't see them. That's like saying 100% of all things that are alive eventually die. We are doing science.
Of all the species that have ever lived, 99% of them are extinct.
We're elementary school children. Are you watching what we're watching, dude? Do you really take what's on screen to be educational? Is this scientific to you, atheist? I absolutely love Jim Bob, but I think there's space for evolution and God. Lately, the push against the idea is starting to make Jim Bob sound a little flat earthy. That's not an argument, right? So that's not only poisoning the well, but you've countered nothing I've said, and it doesn't tell me who God is. Vibe. Your name is Vibe, okay? Who is God? What are you talking about, God? Look, you have to pick your theology, Vibe. And if you're that lispy guy on all the panels, I could probably imagine why you don't want to be rigorous in who God is. But no, saying someone's flat earth-ish is just poisoning the well, dude. That's just slimy behavior, okay? Slimy behavior. No arguments, no counters, just slimy behavior.
But a lucky roll of the genetic dice helps Milo toughen up.
Evolution is such a bad position that it can't even tell you what's actually happening. That's how bad of a position it is. It can't even tell you what evolution actually is mechanically, what's happening. All you say is the effects. It changes. Things change. Not only do you not observe things categorically changing, but that's an event that needs a cause. And they're like, what's the cause? Things changing. What's the effect? Things changing. Interesting. What do you think the cause is? Things changing. Wow. Top level science here. How do they handle creatures thought to be extinct millions of years ago that are found unchanged? Yeah, like the horseshoe crab. They don't like to talk about it.
Your jaws, your teeth, they exist because over 400 million years ago, we faced the wrath of a primeval monster.
No, dude. That's not even what evolution believes. Teeth don't exist because there was a monster. Everything from the evolutionary view that exists accidentally, and it either served a purpose accidentally in your survival or it didn't. It wasn't invented in response to something. Oh, we better create some teeth. We better hurry up and make a shell. Oh, what are we going to do about that monster out there? Oh, if only we waited around a little bit longer, something accidentally will build a defense mechanism. The accidental Iron Dome. This video is just asserting evolution is a set of loaded... Yeah, it's insane, dude. You have to be insane to buy this.
Jaws and teeth mean more food and a bigger, stronger body. Until 375 million years ago, we're a foot-long armored fish.
We're a foot-long armored fish. We're a foot-long armored fish.
Point, Lil Derp says, I'm not seeing how any of this disproves God. We're not trying to disprove God. We're saying that biblical creationism is clearly nonsense.
No, that nothing we've seen so far, nothing you've said so far, you dope, has countered or even referenced any claims of Christianity.
I feel like we are watching one of the cutaway scenes from a video game.
Yeah, I feel like we're watching Sewer Shark, Sega CD, when they got a little aggressive with the videos, and they're like, well, how many videos should we put in the game? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to like. We need more B actors.
And hold on, Amalek Defamation League says, this just makes me wonder why Jews haven't evolved to stop growing foreskins yet. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. If they were to selectively breed where they were only attracted to rabbis that had shorter foreskins, and that's how they chose their mates, then eventually they would lose their foreskins. That's how it would work. But yeah, why did God create us with foreskins and then command them to be chopped off?
What's the contradiction? Why then? Then why? Is there something that I just don't have any reasons to refute it, but why then? Why?
Evolution explains why we have foreskins. And
does it? You mean it's accidental? How? To explain that, Adam? Explain it. Explain from an evolutionary view why we have foreskin. Explain why we have an earlobe.
The Bible is going against evolution and those protective foreskins that the delicate glands need.
So his argument against circumcision is it serves an evolutionary purpose. Meanwhile, all the people that also, you know, a lot of people who agree with Adam Green say it's a necessary thing that you cut the skin off your child at birth for some sort of survival advantage. It's like, pick a lane, dude. Thank you. Pick a lane.
We look invincible, but we're not. Now, the choice is simple. Get out of his...
Another cope I'm seeing in the chat now is, quote, science is just another religion. No, it's not. There's no dogmatic book of science. What you're saying is we can't explain anything we observe in the world, or else you're going to call it a religion. It's not a religion. It doesn't have a set of dogmas. It doesn't have a...
It does have a set of dogmas, in fact. I would argue that Quine's two dogmas of empiricism are... they're inextricably bound to the scientific endeavor itself. Of course, there's dogmatic beliefs. I mean, today especially, Adam Green, you hear science is the best way to truth. That's a dogma. Science is the best way to truth is not a scientific statement. That's a philosophical statement. And if you held that to be absolutely true, that would be unquestioned. That would be a dogma. They have to indoctrinate young as no mature adult with a basic understanding of logic would buy into this as being presented here. Yeah, it's insane. Meme idea, a Christian holding an icon of Christ creating everything. An atheist says, no, that's not evidence. Then show the atheist watching this cartoon. I know. Dude, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Priests that you're not, that's blasphemy if you question. There's a lot of corrupt science. There's been forgeries in science. There's been science that was the consensus that they later found out to be wrong. But no, it's not a religion at all. That's just a complete cope. It's not a religion. It would be religious if you just believed everything that Fauci says or everything that somebody says just because they have on a lab coat. I'm not doing that. I don't believe.
Yeah, you're doing worse. You're believing this because it was a cartoon. It's actually worse than a lab coat, dude. You apparently require less than a lab coat.
Believe this because it's science, because I have to have faith in it. It's because I'm convinced. It's a very thorough explanation that can be checked and that type of thing.
It could be checked and that type of thing? I'm sorry. We're 28 minutes into this cartoon, Adam Green. How did you check anything that they're saying is true? Adam? I can't believe he kept this up. I can't believe he kept this stream up on Rumble.
Science can be used as political propaganda. I agree. In fact, there's a lot of vilification of, as we'll get to the clips later on, vilification of evolution.
His way or die. We're safe in the shallow water.
I'll read this in slow-mo. We literally see many animals. That alone proves that they came from other animals. No, it doesn't. What are you talking about? The fact that you see many animals proves that those many animals came from entirely different animals? Please tell me how you got there. We're all waiting.
Or are we? The water's stagnant. There's not enough oxygen. Starved of oxygen.
We see a lot of different types of flowers. It proves that flowers came from non-flowers. I'm smart. Joined late. I was waiting for my egg nuggies to evolve into dino nuggies. Did I miss the cool 3D animations? No, they're still going.
Cells shut down. Toxic carbon dioxide saturates the blood. We can't go back. We can't stay here. There's only one place left for us to go.
Land. Oh, this is my favorite. The inability to process oxygen forces you, without thinking, to develop an entirely new body plan gradually, even though it's an emergency, right? Even though it's an emergency because you can't process the stuff, you have to move where? You have to accidentally produce some sort of capacity to live in an entirely different way. So these people can never decide on what the mechanism is. Things evolve from their view, and they're the product of random mutation. And the mechanisms inside the body at the individual and population level produce incidental appendages that incidentally do things. And those things are either advantageous or not. They keep switching back and forth between that's what happens and then the environment is either supportive of that or not. And then they go in between. They go back to the environment prods the animal to do stuff. If a species needed to be in an environment to gradually gain useful traits, how did its ancestors survive? Exactly. They have a problem here because this gradualism that's required, like, look, listen to this story again. Listen to this. You got to conceptualize what they're saying here.
To the clips later on, vilification of evolution.
His way or die. We're safe in the shallow water. Or are we?
This is like the Veggie Tales for avatars.
It's Veggie Tales. Since electrical currents resemble the nervous system when a strike occurs, does that mean we evolved from They think so. Why not? I mean, why not? Seriously.
Water stagnant. There's not enough oxygen.
Okay, listen to this. The condition is all of the fish things that survive for how many millions of years now, with all their appendages and their capabilities, they fine-tune their existence, they learn how to mate, they learn how to defend, they learn how to aggress. They're now in shallow water where the oxygen is low. Now keep in mind, this has to happen in a time frame, but watch how they magically get out of it.
Starved of oxygen, cells shut down. Toxic carbon dioxide saturates the blood. We can't go back. We can't stay here. There's only one place left for us to go.
Los Angeles.
I missed what happened there. What happened to the water? The environment of the water changed?
Yeah.
It takes over 3 billion years for our ancestor to evolve from a single cell to a foot-long armored fish. Now, our future looks bleak. But natural selection throws us a lifeline. Over millions...
Enrico 305 for 5 says, besides the religious fabrications created by God bullshit, this story only holds water after you consumed a wheelbarrow of crazy pills. I know no honest person can say that the Bible is a better explanation than what we're watching right here.
Millions of years, thousands of generations, our body adapts until we do something no fish has done before. Breathe air.
Adaptation means you already have the capacity to do that, right? This is another thing they do. They go, look, it's able to adapt. Ability to adapt would mean that it's already built into your system to be able to do this. So they say this to you at certain parts so that you just don't think, right? You have to be in a state like Adam Green, which you're just in a state of hypnosis, where you're not actually listening to what's being said and critically thinking about what's being said. You adapt the ability to breathe. So you have lungs suddenly, right? Underwater, fish have lungs to process oxygen, but it changes, the function changes accidentally, but it's adaptation, but it's also produced randomly. Which is it? Are you now going to bite the bullet and say all, quote, adaptation that has a meaningful response in the here now to the environment is randomly happening? It's a random adaptation. It's a random ability at the time you need it to develop nostrils that then take in air, processing oxygen, completely, entirely different than how you've been doing it for millions of years. These people are nut jobs. What's happening mechanically?
Air travel.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad they did a zoom in. I was like, where's the videographer? I want to know what's going on inside. I'm glad they got the camera in there.
Into a new organ, a lung. Take a breath. And remember, it's because a monster fish chased our ancestor into the stagnant water.
What a story. This guy's criticizing Christianity. Take a deep breath. It's because a monster fish accidentally produced a lung inside its body, even though that's a complete story we can't actually verify. Yeah, randomly hit the goal, for sure.
Forcing them to breathe air.
Forcing them to breathe air. So they developed a lung before they breathed air. Why would they do that? These people are lunatics. Honestly, everything, look, all of the politics is about borders and immigrants and migrants and this and that. I'm like, dude, I'm totally different. I'm like, round up the evolution people. That's what I'm like.
We're an ichthyostega. We can breathe air or water, closing off our windpipe to switch between lungs and gills. Today,
it's just amazing that they actually just buy into this. He literally just showed a cartoon of a lung growing without any explanation of how that happened. Simultaneously, the creature knows when and how to use the thing that they didn't even know they grew. And now it's just taking breaths. It's doing both now.
Today our gills are gone, but the mechanism remains. And sometimes it spasms, giving us the hiccups.
You guys know that? Hiccups has to do with our lungs formerly being gills, evolved from gills.
Oh, really? How'd you verify that one? Dum-dum. Did you guys know that? Something was said on a movie that I'm watching. Did you guys know that everything that he said is true? Did you guys know that? The dude just repeats statement. Did you guys know that? That the hiccups we have today, we only have hiccups today. It's not a spasm. It's because we were fish. What's more reasonable? That like muscle spasms that occur throughout your body where there's a temporary malfunction of a thing or whatever, or strain that happens everywhere. It's like an eye twitch or this twitch or that twitch. No. What's more reasonable is that your grandpa was a fish. Rachel, I'm going to have to randomly generate a new purposeless brain to believe this garbage. Seriously. It's so wild. Like, at least have the decency to present it in a way that's not comical.
Pretty interesting.
365 million years.
What does he say?
But the mechanism closing off our windpipe to switch between lungs and gills.
Listen how certain he is.
Today our gills are gone, but the mechanism remains. And sometimes it spasms, giving us the hiccups.
You guys know that? Hiccups has to do with our lungs formerly being gills, evolved from gills.
The more you know. This is amazing. Did you guys know when you have an eye twitch, the only reason you have an eye twitch is because there was a fish that had an eye that changed? Did you guys know that? You guys know yawning? Do you guys know what yawning is? Yawning is because there was a deep sea worm man that figured out how to sleep and hibernate underwater. And the only reason we yawn today is because of that. Did you guys know that? So we accidentally came to the conclusion that we accidentally evolved. Yes, it's privy to me to a headache over pirouetting inwards. This is like trying to enter an antimatter into evidence. Yeah, it's wild, dude. This is nuttery. This is nut job land. This is absolute nut job land. The lungs grow without alien intervention. I call a psyops.
Pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting.
365 million years ago, we stick our head out of the water.
There we go.
There's a swamp behind us.
Is there?
Paradise ahead.
Oh, really?
The choice is simple. But
a choice is made. Oh, I didn't know there were choices made. Now you have choices? This is wild. God, man, I'm learning so much. Next time I drink a few beers and start a hiccup, I know it wasn't the beer. It's because you're a fish. Yeah, you're a fish. It's not the beer. It's not the bubbles. It's not just a spasm, where spasms exist in pretty much every muscle we have. It's not that. You were a fish. And if you say otherwise, you're a science denier. You understand me? You science denier. So anyway, so now we get choice.
Holy cow! That is a big super chat!
With the luck of the dice, I happen to give this big super chat just randomly, and it evolved into funds into Jim Bob's bank account, which he randomly used to eat and feed his family. Randomly, of course. Thank you, Josiah. Yeah. I'm really starting to get behind the randomness of all of this. So anyway, this part of the children's book, the fish who's hiccuping gets close to shore, and he chooses, by the way, how many more millions of years? Like, let's grant this image here. The fish gets closer to the land. How many more millions of years is it just literally sitting right at the edge of the land, being subject to predators, before it decides to come out of the water? He said choice, okay? I didn't say it. He said it. He said choice.
Consequences are immense.
God made us to have uncontrollable spasms. No. You gotta, Big Tech, you know enough about Christianity to know what the fall is, right? If you're going to internally critique it, you can't critique Christianity from the perspective that creation is perfect right now.
We pull ourselves out of the water and change the course of history.
It's like an SVU episode. Oh, apparently she didn't die after all. Okay, and action, crawling out of the scene, crawling out of the water, scene, and action. Fog. Music. Action. There it is. The fish just crawling out of the water because it decided to. Rachel says for $20, maybe this is a dumb woman moment, but how do entropy and evolution coexist? Well, that's one of a key argument against evolution. Also, conservation of energy as a law. There's a lot of things under this ambiguous, mysterious process that would go against even the conservation of energy. You would have to waste energy producing things that weren't fully functional if, in fact, they developed to be functional. The only alternative, which many of them have taken, is every single moment in time in the process, there's a fully functional thing. That's also changing its function, but it's fully functional. So it's functional and it's kept around because it's selected for, but it's also changing its function, which goes against that it's selected for and effective. So it's effective in what it does and necessary for the organism to keep because natural selection dictates that it keeps it, but it also changes what it is, of course. Makes a lot of sense. Don't the scientism people hold that everything is slowly breaking down, evolving towards improvement? Yes. Well, they don't know what to decide, Rachel. They have no idea which avenue to choose. And when you debate them, you can route them into that problem. And it's what you get, Rachel, is arbitrary. They go, well, in that case, yeah, it's that. But in this case, it's not. You're like, so you're just arbitrarily telling the story, right? They're like, well, it's not arbitrary. It's natural selection. Okay, back to a full circle then. So did plants start in the water and then crawl onto land? Yeah. Did their pollen hitch a ride accidentally on a nomadic fish with the land mutation? Yeah. Obviously, Justin. What are you, some sort of ignoramus?
This is the moment we leave the water for a new life on land. But all this food comes at a price.
That's it.
The fierce...
Chuck says, imagine how...
This is so embarrassing, man. This is so embarrassing.
Amazing other creatures are on other planets. I do think that there is life on other planets. They're just like statistically has to be. If it's here,
no.
where it's going to be, there's probably
no, that doesn't follow.
You know, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of Earth-like planets in the universe.
No, that doesn't follow. That's just you saying it.
Maybe even more.
No, that also doesn't follow.
But look at how amazing just deep ocean animals are. Or just all the different types of life, like bugs and bees and flies and worms and mushrooms. The animal kingdom is so much complexity and variation and diversity. Corn Pop the Bad Dude for 5 says
that's
the
amazing, Adam.
Skeleton of medieval English longbowmen from Medium. The skeletal and muscular structure of English medieval longbowmen has evolved because of the English longbow. I'm pretty sure this is an example of evolution. Skeletal and muscular structure of English medieval. Yeah, I guess if you could have tribes that are big and strong. If all of the weak men get killed in war and it's only the big and strong and the ones that were good with the longbow survive, you would get...
Oh, yeah. Suddenly people who use a longbow would eventually not be humans who use longbow. Yeah, that's impressive thinking. Mike says, JB, function is a word humans use to describe it. No, that would require function before description. So you can't trust what you're describing if there's not a function to describe. So we've covered this every single time you guys bring this up. Everything you're saying is in question if there's not a proper, quote, function to your brain being able to adequately communicate ideas. I'm so tired of it. Function is just a word humans use. Really? Okay, now apply that to your own reasoning, which is a process that, according to you, has no real function. The fuck, dude? It's like dealing with actual retarded people. You know when you fart, it's because you used to be a banana? We get attacked by a new creature. Yes, and it's going to make us stand up and do build Las Vegas. Look, we crawled out of the water and now we're doing philosophy. It's very easy to explain.
A bunch of big, strong warriors. That's the way it works.
Sun dries out our skin. The hard...
a Christian says this is just grown-up cartoons. We're going to show you the cartoons. We'll show you the Genesis.
No, this is a cartoon, actually.
It's a story of cartoon.
This is a cartoon. What are you talking about? This is a cartoon. The guy's not wrong when he says this is a cartoon. He's like, no, we're going to show you, tu quoque, we're going to show you cartoons. I know, but they don't care if it's circular. We can use knowledge regardless of it being justified in your particular philosophical sense. No, that's begging the question, dude. I don't know why these people, they just grant themselves proper thinking. Like using terms like justified or circular, right? It's not that it's circular. It's that it's not even that it's circular. Is that even appealing to circularity or logic assumes there's a proper way to think. But the position for evolution is there's no such thing as a proper way to think. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. If there's not a proper way to think, right? Thinking is use of the brain. That means there's not a proper way the brain works. If there's not a proper way the brain works, you can't say there are correct or incorrect conclusions because that would necessitate a proper use. Just the same way the proper use of a calculator to spit out accurate, true conclusions requires a proper function of the calculator. You guys are not getting this. You're like, yeah, no, I know, I agree with you, but agreement requires proper use of the brain.
And we'll compare these two explanations.
Terrain.
It's not even close.
Ichthyostega is a fish out of water.
It's a fish out of water. Wait a second. Where did these arms come from, bro? What are we doing here? The screen guy actually believes these flopping mud skippers invented Christianity as a Jewish shop. That's true, actually. That's a good way of putting it, Fredo. That's funny. And then we invented the Christian psyop, which is also a part of the evolutionary view. Short skit idea. A kid learns of evolution in school or documentary and now refuses to eat because he's traumatized that he's eating his family members. That's funny. Yeah. Who cares if it's begging the question? And no, there isn't a proper way to think. Cool, you just refuted your own statements. If there's not a proper way to think, why are we listening to you?
I just get so mad.
You get the full song, dude. Sorry, I didn't do this to you. You did it to you. How do you guys not understand the entailment, dude? If there's no proper thinking, why are we listening to you?
We dodged.
How can I mix up definitions? That would require proper thinking. Is this for, like, are these people real? You can't say I'm mixing something up because that would assume that's an improper way to think. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. There's no proper way to think, but you're doing it wrong. Yeah. There's no proper way to think, but you're mixing things up. These fucking people, dude. Just dozer maxing. Dozer maxing. Lord, give me patience and grace and kindness. Please.
Extinction in a stagnant swamp, only to slam straight into another deadly environment.
And still today we can see amphibians, the transitional species between fish and reptiles. Basically.
No. Oh, basically? Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. How did you determine amphibians are in an event called transitioning? How do you know we're not in a transition? Yeah, these people. Oh, no, look, amphibians. They're clearly in an event called transitioning. Really? How did you determine that?
Countless creatures perish, but natural selection helps our ancestor adapt.
Bad arguments assume proper thinking again. I'm being rude. Who cares? You're an idiot. You can't have a bad argument unless there's a proper way to argue, which means a proper way to think. F***ing idiot. How are you not understanding this? You don't have bad arguments or good arguments. You don't have access to that. You've already removed your view. What are you talking about? Oh, it's a bad argument. Is it? I don't know. A bad argument would assume there's a proper way to think. Unbelievable. Yeah, there's no proper way to think. By the way, you're thinking incorrectly. Really? That's a contradiction. I don't care. I'm an idiot.
Martins.
Now you're just being rude. What's rude? Is there a proper way to talk to people now? You dummy. So answer me this. Is there a proper or an improper way to think of rainbows? Yeah, if you're affirming that rainbows mean something. What's a rainbow? Is a rainbow a tree? And by rainbows, you mean a tree, right? Mike, I just want to understand your communication, which assumes proper way to communicate with words and reference. By rainbows, I'm assuming you mean refrigerators, right? I just want to be sure you're talking about the same thing here. You mean refrigerators, right? You mental midget.
Thicker skin protects us from the sun.
It's unbelievable.
And tough claws that will one day become our fingernails, help us move across the rough terrain.
Like we've got such similar digits and fingers, even as reptiles. Going back even to maybe even...
Exactly. Thoughts are only proper and proper when making true and false claim. Nope. You don't have access to true and false. What is wrong with you, man? What kind of shit are you doing at night to think like this? What kind of vices do you have, dude? Dark stuff, man. There's no such thing as true or false claims, nitwit. You big dum-dum. How does he not understand this? Who are you? What are you? What do you do?
Fish could have started to develop fingers. I don't know if...
Yes, they're for fun, dude. Everyone's laughing. It's called fun. I insult people for fun. It's called a roast. And you're asking for it. It's not... Dude, animosity? You're a sophist, man. Why the animosity? I'm just a wasted time sophist. I'm just saying there's no such thing as truth, but I'm arguing with you about what's true in the comments. What's the problem? It's unbelievable, dude. You're like, why are people getting frustrated with me?
Fingers developed when they were fish or...
Play the victim more.
Or amphibians or reptiles, but that long ago.
They literally pay me to do it. Does an apple fall when you drop it? Not if there's not not if there's improper, no such thing as improper or proper way to evaluate. To say an apple falls when you drop it is to say that there is a correct and incorrect way to interpret data. I'll try to be nicer, but you're really on the edge here, buddy. You don't have access to the conceptual metaphysical claim, apple falling. That's an identity, apple. That means it's not a refrigerator. That means it's not a cloud. It's not a wildebeest. Fall, that means doesn't go up, it goes down. That's another concept. That's an observation. Does an apple fall when you drop it? The question itself assumes there's a correct way to interpret the world outside called an apple and falling. Do you understand? When you say true or false, that assumes that you have access to true and false statements. What that means is it necessitates a proper way of thinking. He's like, yeah, but I have that.
Until we're Casenaria. We've adapted to life on land, but our eggs haven't. They need a tough shell to stop them drying out in the sun. The problem is males can't fertilize an egg through a tough shell, but they can fertilize it before the shell forms.
That's when sex started.
The female's body.
That's when sex started? No. According to your documentary, sex started way before this. Remember, you were a worm? What do you have, a goldfish brain? I know you think you're a fish, but apparently you've adapted a goldfish brain. You went back in time. Oh, and that's how they just that's how sex evolved, just like that. There were two lizards, one was male, one was female, and that just happened, and then they had sex because the egg needed it and stuff. So, the evolution, how could you deny evolution? What is wrong with you? This guy said that the fish developed fingers. Apparently, chickens develop nuggets as well. That's right.
Sex as we know it starts here. The result is...
So sex, we used to fertilize the eggs when they were outside of the body, and then when they're inside of the body.
Wow. Well, great summary, Adam.
Piece of evolution. An egg in a tough shell.
Dude, this is so wild, dude. You're Orthodox? I don't believe you. Your arguments aren't defeated against materialists. Of course they are. Materialism can't justify arguments, and you're a liar. You're not Orthodox. Defeated against materialists? No. Materialists can't justify arguments or truth. Materialism can't justify truth. Okay? So don't use the I'm an Orthodox shield. Okay? I don't care if that were true. So, okay, cool. There are retarded Orthodox people. Congratulations. You're one of them. Of course I have an argument against materialism. I'd say it almost every stream, Mike. Okay? Physical events are not true or false. They're not truth-apt. Under materialism, evaluations and propositions are material events. Conclusion. Evaluations and propositions are not truth-apt. Co-parter.
With all the nutrients
your parish failed you.
the embryo needs sealed inside.
My arguments just suck? Dude, you've been coping this whole time. You're the one who just said there's no purpose of the brain and you say you're Orthodox. You're a lying, demonic scoundrel. You're Orthodox, but you think there's no purpose of the brain? You're Orthodox, but you believe that your brain doesn't have a proper function? You're a liar. Clearly a liar. I hate liars. I hate you. I'm Orthodox, by the way, and I think my view is that my brain doesn't properly function. No way, again?